This is 5 on your side at 10. Focused on you.
Explosion shaking Gaza City as Israeli forces fight back. The surprise attack leaving hundreds dead, thousands more hurt. Good evening, I'm Brent Solomon. It's early Sunday morning in Israel, one day after the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched an unprecedented attack by land, air, and sea. Israel's leaders say they are at war now and fighting. NBC's Bree Jackson with details.
Hamas militants launched thousands of rockets early Saturday morning in a stunningly brazen assault, taking Israel by surprise. In response, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered strikes in Gaza, declaring his nation is in a war. President Biden weighing in, pledging unwavering support to Israel and sending a warning to adversaries.
Let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage. The world is watching.
The bloodshed comes at a crucial time. The U.S. was working on a peace deal with Israel and Saudi Arabia that had been gaining momentum. Hamas leaders say this attack was a message to any Muslim country working on peace with Israel. Experts question why Israel was caught so off guard.
The kind of activities that would have had to precede Hamas's making these attacks should not have gone unnoticed.
The unprecedented violence coming during the height of a major Jewish holiday. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
And the assault comes 50 years to the day Arab states attacked Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. In the United States, police are now tightening security around synagogues and mosques. Airlines have canceled flights to Israel. The Department of Homeland Security is now watching for potential threats nationwide. We will continue to follow the crisis in the Middle East for you. Look for updates on air, on KSDK.com, and on the 5 on Your Side app. Tonight, a security guard hurt in a gun battle with a customer is now in jail. It happened at a Ferguson Quick Trip. Take a look at this video now. Witnesses told police that a customer came in and got into an argument with the on-duty security officer after the customer was asked to show ID at the cash register. Witnesses say both the guard and the man pulled out guns and fired shots. The customer died on scene. Police say the security guard, Murray Adams, was saved by his bulletproof vest. He is charged with voluntary manslaughter and armed criminal action. Belleville police are questioning a person of interest tonight about a deadly shooting. It happened around noon at North 1st and West B Streets, just a block away from where a chili cook-off was happening. Someone opened fire several times, killing the victim on scene. Police took someone into custody at a house near the scene. People attending that chili cook-off could hear the gunfire. Police say the shooting was not related to that event. They don't believe people at the event were in danger. Well, right now, Metro Transit is continuing to deal with a cyber attack that's leaving some riders stranded. Tonight, we're getting a look at the impact it's having on people who rely on that service. 5 on Your Side's Diamond Palmer joins us in studio with a closer look. Diamond.
Good evening, Brent. Earlier this week, Metro Transit says its phone systems were cyber attacked, leaving customers who use their caller ride service without rides. This weekend, they're still dealing with this problem. And I spoke to one rider who wants better solutions in place when things like this happen.
I just gave up and just figured, well, I guess I'm not going anywhere today.
Annette Nowakowski says she's been using Metro caller ride services for over a decade. She's blind and relies on the transportation. Saturday morning, her ride was scheduled at 7:16 a.m.
And I couldn't get through. I got this message that kept saying all the lines are busy. Please hold for the next available operator.
Nowakowski says she never got through. It happened on a day where she had plans to attend Festibility, an event in Forest Park celebrating disabilities. She says the same thing happened Monday. While she knows things are out of caller ride's control, she wants an alternative.
Use Uber or Lyft or some on-demand service, but, subsidize it in some way.
Nowakowski says the service requires riders to book 3 days in advance over the phone. On Monday, Metro Transit released a statement to report cyber attacks that froze ride systems. The statement read in part, the transit phone system and caller ride scheduling system are still down, as well as email. Later that day, the service said phones were slowly coming back, as well as the reservation systems for caller ride, and they would inform customers of any changes. Saturday, the transit service released another statement saying the cyber attack continues to impact phone services related to caller ride. Services won't be available today and tomorrow.
We want the public to know what's going on, and we really, really, really need public support to help us out with this problem.
In a statement released by Metro Transit today, it reads, the scheduling system used to reserve future caller ride trips is not currently accessible. We will keep our customers updated through the media and social media as the network systems are restored. Metro Transit went on to say Metro Link and Metro Bus will be operating on a normal weekend schedule today and tomorrow, but ticket vending machines will only accept cash until further notice.
Diamond Palmer reporting tonight. Diamond, thanks. Let's go ahead and take a live look at downtown St. Louis from our Skycam. We are in for yet another chilly night. Meteorologist Gary Frank now with the weather first forecast. Gary, will some areas see frost tonight?
Yeah, a couple are possible. We had similar issues this morning where it was nice and cool in those valley areas. It may dip down to the mid-30s, but for the most part in the city, you're not going to have to bring those plants in just yet. We still have a little bit left in terms of the growing season, but there are a few clouds that have settled in as part of our temperatures holding steady in the city. Low 50s now already. Mid-40s outside of the city, and it is going to cool down nicely over the next several hours. Speaking of the city, I mentioned you're in the 50s here. 53 right now at the airport, calm wind. It's very dry, and that's what you feel going outside. It feels more like fall. We're going to drop down to 43 in the city. I'll show you a few areas here coming up that are going to dip down to the mid to upper 30s, and then a little bit of brief warmth before things change once again. It's a very fall-like week with more rain chances ahead the rest of the week, Brett.
A cry for answers at the St. Louis Justice Center after the most recent detainee death following a medical emergency.
These people are incarcerated. They still human beings, and they have families.
The message behind this vigil at the city jail and the changes now in the works. Plus, united in the fight against breast cancer. The big turnout for this year's St. Louis Sister Strike. And is the government trying to remove menthol from cigarettes? We verify. Friends and family of a detainee who died at the St. Louis Justice Center 1 week ago are now remembering him. Today, a balloon release outside of the jail. Juwan Carter suffered a medical emergency while in custody. He is one of 10 people who have died at the CJC in the last 2 years. His mother says those lives mattered.
He has a mother. He has children. He has grandchildren. And we need answers, and that's all we're saying. We need answers. Why did it take you so long to even contact me?
Juwan Carter was 44 years old. His family has set up a GoFundMe to help pay for his funeral expenses. You can find that information at KSDK.com under the As Seen on TV section. This week, the city announced a new plan to increase medical care at the jail. Leaders are creating a chief medical officer position and 10 new support staff positions. Right now, the jail's healthcare provider, Ferguson, filed for bankruptcy this year. The city is now suing that company and is looking for a new one. 25 homes got some much-needed repairs free of charge thanks to an army of volunteers. Rebuilding St. Louis sent out 300 volunteers to help homeowners in St. Louis City and County. They tackled all kinds of projects both inside and out.
Sometimes they're a little shy. You have a whole bunch of people coming into their house and strangers, but as soon as they realize we're here to help and we try to bring some positive energy, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They love having the help, and we get a lot out of it.
Corporate sponsors donated all of the materials used to fix those homes. Rebuilding Together St. Louis provides free home repair to low-income seniors, people with disabilities, and veterans' families. A sea of pink in downtown St. Louis this morning as hundreds gathered for the annual Sister Strut. This is the 14th year for this event, and it's all to raise awareness about how breast cancer impacts women of color. Black women are more likely to be diagnosed at later stages and have the lowest survival rates. The walk promotes screenings to catch cancer early. It celebrates survivors and honors those who lost their lives. Our own Sydney Stallworth was this year's MC.
Temperatures this afternoon got in the mid-60s, but that was well below average, where we should be this time of the year, and when we'll finally be back above average ahead.
Time now to take a look at today's winning Powerball numbers. Grab your tickets. Those numbers are 47, 54, 57, 60, 65, and the Powerball is 19. The jackpot has rolled over 33 times since July, and it's grown to $1.4 billion. Good luck. Well, menthol is the only flavor that can legally be added to cigarettes in the U.S. Brandon Lewis from our National Verified team looks into whether the federal government is trying to ban this flavor of cigarette. Take a look.
1 in 3 cigarettes sold in the U.S. is flavored with menthol, a mint-like flavor additive that the CDC says can make cigarettes easier to smoke. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has argued for years that it also makes cigarettes more addictive and increases their appeal among children and young adults. One verified viewer texted us to say they heard the federal government is considering a ban on menthol cigarettes and wants to know if this is true. So let's verify. Our sources are the FDA, the Office of the Federal Register, and the Tobacco Products Scientific Advisory Committee. In 2009, Congress passed the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act. The law created a committee to study the health impacts of menthol cigarettes. 2 years later, the committee recommended the FDA ban the flavor. The agency began accepting public comment about what to do, but took no further action. In 2018, the FDA again accepted public comment and took no action. Then, last year, the FDA proposed a ban on the manufacturing and sale of menthol cigarettes and planned to finalize the rule by August 2023, but it's still in the works. So, yes, the FDA is considering a ban on menthol cigarettes and has been for 14 years, but it still hasn't finalized a plan to actually do so. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
And if there's something you'd like us to verify, you can email us at verify@ksdk.com. Well, tonight, a major celebration on the streets in the Grove. In about 15 minutes, Grove Fest will wrap up. The day-long festival brought out local vendors, restaurants, street performers, and huge crowds for a celebration of the city. This was the 17th year for the annual street festival. Entertainers Big Frida and Manny Fresh headlined the event. Time now for your weather first forecast. I tell you what, meteorologist Gary Frank is here, and folks attending that festival or any other festival had to bear the cooler temperatures than we've been used to.
Yeah, first time in a while that we've had to dig out those extra layers, right? You know, a lot of times when you go out this time of the night, we go home and it's like, oh my goodness, it's still this hot outside. We're not thinking about that anymore, but we're going to continue to look at pretty nice evenings. We do enjoy these fall times here as we got temps that start off at 43 this morning. Lots of mid to upper 30s. We didn't have really any numbers below freezing anywhere in the region, but there were some spots that got close to that frost. Anything under 36 is frost, 35 in Salem. We've been talking about that for the last few days. I think that's a possibility again, but that 43 in St. Louis this morning, that's the coolest morning we've had since April 30th. That's what I'm saying. You really had to dig out those layers. However, right now, we're in the low 50s. Here's where we should be this time of the night or this time of the day all over. Calm winds, 65. We're supposed to be at 73. 53 is our average low. We're 10 degrees below that as well. And overall, I think you're going to look at this storm that's churning a lot of rain once again into the northeast. As part of this, and then we're kind of in between this calm weather, cloud cover seeping in overnight, I think it's going to keep us a little warmer. However, we'll still drop into the mid-40s. And once again, there's some spots in the low to mid-30s. Overall, I still think it's the possibility of frost is there, but the wind is going to settle down. That's what's allowing us to cool down. And then we're going to see a southwest wind tomorrow. Not quite as breezy. It's going to help us warm up a little bit more, so you probably won't need to deal with that overall cool weather like we had. As that exits, you'll see this pressure gradient that we're kind of in between. That's why the wind was up today, and we'll transition that wind back out of the southwest, that warmer direction, and we'll stay with that for a couple of days. What I want to note as this still sits here is we're kind of in between here, and we start to warm back up. It's then this cutoff low that kind of spills away. That's going to take some time to move. It's going to impact our weather. And depending on sides of this, whether it's the cool side or the warm side that we're on over the Wednesday through Friday time period, that's going to really greatly impact our weather and give us opportunities for rain. On Wednesday, you'll notice we're still in the mid to upper 70s, right around 80, with showers to the north. Then I think we clear out completely on Thursday. And then once again, behind that warm front, and then the cooler air mass, and that's what's going to drop us again. But I am optimistic that we have opportunities for rain. Also, a week from today, we'll be talking about our annular solar eclipse. If we can get rid of that, it starts at 10:32 to 1:27. You need to dig out those eclipse glasses if we can get things to cooperate weather-wise. I think overall it's pretty decent, but it will be cooler by next weekend. Showers around Thursday into Friday as temps change again, but a couple cool days. We dry out here a little bit with some patchy frost in those same spots this morning.
Yeah, we'll be looking for that rain as well. Yeah. All right, thank you, Gary. We've got Corey here now with a look at sports.
Well, we had some beautiful weather in Columbia where it was a wild yet disappointing day for Mizzou. The Blues got their final work in before the regular season begins, and the MLB playoffs gave us a fun dose of drama. Stick around, sports is up next.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
When you're a Mizzou fan, part of you is always waiting for the other shoe to drop. The football team is undefeated. The basketball team has the #1 recruiting class in the country. Things can't always be this good, right? Well, today the other shoe dropped, courtesy of LSU, and Missouri is undefeated no longer. Mizzou's 49-39 loss was not short on highlights. SLU 5-star receiver Ryan Wingo was part of the 62,000 plus at a Wild Faroe field. So was Jeremy Macklin, who got surprised with his name in the team's Ring of Honor. And even in the loss, it wasn't all bad. It was another big day from Luther Burden III, 11 catches for 149 yards. He's impossible to tackle. Cody Schrader pulled his quad in practice this week. All he did today was rush for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns. Francis Howell freshman tight end Brett Norfleet got his first career touchdown and had a great celebration as well. I know everybody at Howell loved that. Brady Cook had his interception streak snapped and threw a devastating pick-6 at the end of the game, but still threw for 395 yards and 2 scores. The story today, though, was the fourth quarter and LSU's star QB. The Bayou Bengals outscored Mizzou 22-7 in the fourth, and Jaden Daniels showed why he's a star. 259 yards passing, 145 yards rushing, and some clutch moments to hand Mizzou their first loss. Now, it's time to regroup.
You got to tip your hat to them. I mean, they've got some elite players. Jaden Daniels, obviously today, played as good as any quarterback I've ever gone against. It's about how we respond to the disappointment. You know, we're all disappointed. We all wanted this game really badly, from top to bottom, from fan to player to coach. We knew what this game was for us and didn't get it done. But how do you respond to that disappointment? Yeah, and ultimately, that's what's going to determine the fate of our season.
More college football action from today. Tennessee Tech at Lindenwood. Huge day from the Lions defense. Donnie Wingate, big-time sack, big-time celebration. On offense, it's Carter Davis to a wide-open Spencer Red, who waltzes right into the end zone. But like I said, the defense is the story. Talon Blaylock is going to get an interception as Lindenwood shuts out Tennessee Tech with a 23-0 win. It's Lindenwood's first shutout since 2005. A week from tonight, the Blues will be at a rocking Enterprise Center, kicking off their home regular season schedule against Seattle. Tonight, they welcome the Blackhawks for one final preseason tune-up. It went well. The Blues were fast and furious tonight. Nikita Alexandrov showing why he should be an important part of this year's team. That's a slick goal. And less than 2 minutes later, Robert Thomas knocks one in. He's been on fire in the preseason. Jake Neighbors pulled this nifty move for a goal in the third period, and the Blues cap off their preseason with a 5-3 win over Chicago. Playoff baseball Division Series edition. Orioles and Rangers first. One-run game in the sixth inning, and Josh Young gives Texas some breathing room. He goes big fly to center. That made it 3-1. Those 3 runs would hold up. The Rangers close it out for the 3-2 win in Baltimore to take game 1. Twins and Astros up next in Houston. Twins were down 5-0 at one point. They battled back. Royce Lewis is red hot. He hits another dinger. That made it 5-3, but the Astros had seen enough at that point. Yordan Alvarez blasts this one down the right field line. That's his second bomb of the game, and Houston takes the series lead with a 6-4 victory. Phillies and Braves is a spicy series. Bryce Harper destroys this baseball. That made it 2-0 Phils. Later, Braves fans are upset with a catcher's interference call, and they throw some stuff on the field. Cardinal fans are having 2012 wildcard game flashbacks right there. Philly would do it on defense as well. Look at this ridiculous play from Trey Turner to save a run. My goodness. Phillies take game 1, 3-0. So disappointing day in Columbia, but I'll tell you what, even the worst day watching some college football and some beautiful weather is not too bad.
Yeah, we'll take it. We love it, actually. We also love a good weather forecast.
Yeah, that was the first time I can remember that we've had football weather in a while.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
No more heat, especially that turf gets hot. I think next week, they're not in Columbia next week. They're in Kentucky. They're going to be impacted by the same system we are. It's going to be cooler. There's no doubt about that for that night game down there. But otherwise, not too hot over the next 10 days, and hopefully we can get some rain. Keep chewing away at that deficit.
Yeah, a lot of folks reaching into the closet, picking up those clothes they had put away
season.
for quite some time. Thanks for the company, my friends. Saturday Night Live is next.